Hello, hello, and welcome back. We have returned for another round of the Sunset Bend Street Stock Road Course Challenge. Thomas Guthrie here, also known as Orion. I with you today. Sorry we couldn't get this rolling last time around. Had a bit of trouble both in my health and in just general life. It happens. But we are here today and ready to roll, and here to bring you this round of Sunset Bend's Street Stock Road Course Challenge presented by the Prodigy Racing Association. Let's get started by looking at where we're going. Last week, we missed the race that took place at Sandown, so we are now headed to Sonoma for the halfway mark of the series. We'll head to Detroit next week, Navarra, Interlagos, the Thanksgiving break, and then finish it off at Long Beach. We'll have a quick look at the roster of drivers ahead of us today. Keith Nelson Jr. leading the way in the 00 with Justin Rector as the 03. Chris Blackstock in at the number 3 car. Cameron Cayley, the 04, with Brian Molitor choosing the number 4. Jimmy Sallow drives the 012, while Marlo Duncan drives the 12. Ivan Barra, the 18. David Nannon in the 21 car, with Daniel Blanco in the 57, Jory Fleischauer, the 61, Chris Burke, 66, Colby Vaughn in the 71. I actually think that's incorrect. I believe he has an extra A in his name, so we will just add that in right now. That is correct. Nathan Scott Maru in the 76, Douglas Colley in the 88, and Joey Kuba, the 93. And we do have an extra thing that we can look at. We've got standings on the board. In P1 at the moment by a wide margin, Keith Nelson Jr., 264 points. Colby Vaughn, the next man on the board, who will be absent for this event today, in second with 219. Daniel Blanco riding in P3 with 212 on the board. David Nannon in fourth with 209. Ivan Barra, 208. Cameron Cayley, 206. Chris Burke, 198. Justin Rector, 194. And Kyle Pokrefke at 135. For the second half of the standings, it's Joey Kuba in P10, Marlo Duncan P11, Molitor in P12, Blackstock 13th, Colley in 14th, Sallow 15th, Fleischauer in 16th, the retired Brock Morris in 17th, and Nathan Scott Maru at the bottom of the board at the moment. Right now, the only thing that we know is, the only thing that we know is Colby Vaughn is out for today. I believe he is the only one who registered for LPP, the last place points. A provisional set of points in which if you are unable to attend the race, but you still want to score points for it, you are allowed, with unlimited uses, to say, I would like to be given the last place points for this race, please. You don't need to give a reason. And we are confirmed that it will be Brian Molitor driving the number 4 car. Wanted the 04, but Cayley already had it. And so we are about ready to get this underway. Let's make sure that this is ready. Okay, perfect. Well, we've got a few other things that we need to add on. There we go. Let's head on over to the track. Welcome to Sonoma. Right now, only 5 cars have completed a lap at the moment. Rector, Blackstock, and Molitor have registered for today's race. Whoa, a little bit squirrely. Right now, something to keep in mind is we have not seen Morris hit the server. Well, Brock Morris will not be joining the server, but Keith Nelson Jr. has not entered the server either. And that could be something to keep an eye on as we keep rolling. We will, of course, have our qualifying session that is set to begin in 19 minutes. So we'll stick around for a little while longer. Yeah, Molitor and Blackstock have yet to hop into the pit lane. We have Justin Rector here in the 03. Pokrefke here in the pits in the number 7 car. David Nannon, the 21. And this is Ivan Barra in the 18. As Barra makes his way around the final bend, we'll get to have a look at what a lap on Sonoma is like. So let's head on inside and have a look for ourselves. At the line, you are immediately heading into a left-hander. It's a very wide one, though, so you can take it flat out, going all the way out. Oh. He missed. And Blanco crashed. And Kaylee's not on the track. I see. Well, that's unfortunate. No one is on the track. Bar's about to change that. Let's try this again. You have this very wide left-hander to start the lap off, and you'll be hooking it hard on the inside here because you are followed up by an uphill blind right-hand corner. Extending all the way to the outside. You'll start crashing down. You've got a left to keep an eye on here. You're going to hear plenty of debris hit the track throughout the entire day because these cars aren't exactly known for their turning capabilities. A hard right-hander. Nearly 90 degrees around. Around the O'Reilly's bend. You got a little bit of a chicane to go through here. Another swivel to the right side. It's a very squiggly line at the bottom of the track. Not a lot of room for flat out, but he does have some. Makes his way down this final straightaway that'll then turn into a hairpin turn right next to pit entrance. Hook the car all the way around, and welcome to a lap at Sonoma. Now let's see him hit this turn right. There we go. That's what we're looking for. We've got about 15 or so minutes before the beginning of qualifying. We do have Molitor on the track, which is what we like to see. I'll try to get the chat available for us all to keep an eye on. Let's have a look at Molitor on the track. Uh-oh. Molitor? Let's have a look at Molitor on the track while we get the chat up and rolling here. Molitor's got plenty of connection issues. Okay, heard. Hey, Nelson Jr.'s in the lobby. We'll keep the camera on him as we get ready. Hi, Molitor. And hello, all of you. We do have one last thing we want to do before we officially focus solely on the track. I want to give a big thank you to Robert Hensley 680, MTO9TY51, Salamander Nachos, David N919, and Fat at RX for all the follows in the past 2 weeks. Also, Forcine, good to see you around, buddy. Thank you very much for the raid 4 days ago on Sunday. I know the PRA Short Track League's got a couple guys that love to I have a bit of a crossover with the North American Wreckfest scene, so good to see those guys around. We saw a little bit of that with the GT3 series as well with Yellow Wills. And unfortunately, it looks like my chat's not able to load on my computer, but we do have it available on the tablet. Anyone who wants to say hi, you are welcome and you are seen. There we go. That down. Perfect. Nelson Jr. already up to second in the practice session. The best lap belongs to Daniel Blanco with a 1:21.557. Nelson Jr. in 0:36 in the 22s. Nine drivers at the moment for this race. I apologize for all the stutters we've been seeing. I want to be able to address those. Nelson Jr. nearly oh, God. Nearly a big crash over by turn one, but thankfully the driver who was exiting the pits in Cameron Cayley avoids Nelson Jr. I'd like to see where the stutters are coming from, but for now we'll just have to roll on. Around the final bend, we'll see if Nelson Jr. is able to make it to that top time. Still looking for the number one spot. It's not going to be this lap as he pulls a... Oh, he had a slow lap that time. A 1:23.243. I mean, that's probably thanks to the turn one incident. It happens. Please excuse me for one moment. This should hopefully be the last bit of choppiness we have to deal with. We're going to run a quick ad break here just to make sure that we get no pre-rolls for the rest of the event. And we can stay on the track as we continue on preparing for the Sunset Bend Street Stock Road Course Challenge at Sonoma, presented by the Prodigy Racing Association. Oh, it's stuttering really bad. Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry, everybody. Seriously? Is this what I have to do? Well, that should hopefully fix the stuttering issue from before. That's a bit annoying. Oh, well. Things that you have to deal with sometimes. Oh, my goodness. Final minute of the practice session underway. Molitor's connection issues seem to have been solved somewhat. Well done to keep that on the road, as he's got P3 at the moment in practice. Oh my goodness. Ow. Oh, that one hurt. Nine drivers on the docket at the moment. First driver out is Justin Rector. And he'll be the one we follow for our first lap of Sonoma. Kaylee and Pokrevsky have hit the track as it's a little bit wibbly wobbly from Rector at the moment. Nice and easy from Rector to kick this off. We are back. I am glad that I'm able to return as, Rector nearly ends up in the wall. Down to the wibbly wobbly, as I love to call it. Oh, my goodness. Rector struggling here on the outlap, but has time to make up. Has time to work with. A little bit of a lift through some of that turn, and has a bit of a struggle making his way around the bend. Uh-oh. Watch out behind him. That's Cameron Cayley, who is a wild child at the moment. Kaylee's already pretty much caught up to Rector. Rector will likely need to move out of the way at this rate. Only Nelson Jr. not on the track at the moment. So Rector will put the first lap on the board. .127.6 to kick things off. We'll look around the track. We've got Kaylee right behind him. Looks for a room on the inside, has gotten alongside, and Rector will let him by. And Ivan Barra picks up a 122.7. Molitor into first with a 121.7. And Kaylee ripping it down the track. As we're nearly halfway done with the qualifying session. Blackstock will move up to third. As Kaylee finishes this lap. And a pretty good one. A 121.727. A 122.727, excuse me. Uh-oh, that's not exactly what you're looking for. Quick, go to someone else. Nelson Jr. has not hit the track. Daniel Blanco, however, has. And we'll be looking to get by Rector. That will help. Rector ends up off the track. And Blanco will go by. So Blanco had the fastest lap in the practice session. We'll look to do so here as well. Has about 2 more laps to work with. In qualifying, in the joint qualifying session. 121.79 to beat. Close, but not quite there yet. A 122.026. As both Prekrefke and Blackstock are in the pits. And Nelson Jr. has yet to hop on the track. So we'll stay with Blanco, who has parked it. And it looks like took himself out. He's taken himself out of contention. At least for this lap and the next. He'll get one more chance around the track. So we'll come back to him in a moment as Molitor holds that top spot. And we'll look to try to expand on the lead. Crosses the line. No improvement of the time. It will stay 121.7. Barra is out as he takes himself off the track. Will stay in third. Let's have a look at Blanco through the chicanes. About halfway through the track, we'll keep an eye on that dive. Around the final bend he'll go. Daniel Blanco, one last chance to qualify ahead of Molitor. Here we go. Starts at turn one. It's that wide left-hander from before. Full gas all the way around as he clips the inside. A little bit of a slide as it kicks out to the outside out of turn two on the uphill right. Dives to the left before kicking back to the right one more time. The first sharp turn coming up about 80 degrees to the right. Take up as much track as you can. And Molitor has improved the time. Molitor now a 1:21.650. Little bit of a lift as he goes through the chicane and has vanished. There he is. Through the final chicane. 40 seconds on the clock. That may have been an off track. We'll have to wait and see. His last lap, well, his best lap is a 1:22.026. Looking to break it here. Across the line he'll go as our final driver on the track. And it's not enough. A 1:21.813 sees Blanco stick in P2 to begin this race. And that gives us our grid. Let's get a better look at it all. It's Molitor who takes P1 with Blanco in P2. The 1:21.650 holds off Blanco's push. Ivan Barra takes up P3. And joining him on row 2 is David Nannen with a 1:22.52. Cameron Cayley, the last 1:22 on the board, joined by Chris Blackstock at row 3 with his 1:24.55. Rector will be in P7 as the last man to qualify. Nelson Jr. takes P8. And in P9 will be Kyle Prokrefke. Pardon that. Couple more drivers need to hit the track. Barra is on. We're looking for David Nannen and Brian Molitor. There's Molly. "40 more seconds to grid." There we go. That's everyone. Let's go. It's Brian Molitor who will be on the inside. Pace car heads off. And we are close to the final bend.
Green flag, green
It's
flag.
green flag racing at Sonoma. Molitor and Blanco side by side to kick things off. Everyone's staying in place as you go through turn one. There will be plenty of room for everyone to exist. Just got to make it through the corner cleanly. A little bit of a place swap is having to dive way on the inside is Blackstock. He'll hang on to P6 at the moment. Tapping Nelson Jr. behind him, nearly gets into the back end of Kaylee, but pulls off just in time. He'll dive to the right side to give room to Kaylee and Nelson Jr. behind him. Losing a little bit of speed was Barra, as Molitor has Blanco behind. The two make it through just fine, and a car has been speared under the inside wall. He's bouncing around and ends up bumping into another back there as Chris Blackstock has gone off the track and has immediately taken himself to the pits. I don't know what happened there, but let's get a look. Oh, he missed the timing on the jump. He ended up clipping that inside wall right out of that turn and then just destroyed the car on the other wall on the opposite side. And to the pits he goes. For now, it'll be Molitor looking to hold off Blanco. Then the two of them will have plenty of pressure as Nelson Jr. makes his way up the field. Already at less than 0.3 of a second on David Nannon. Nannon a little bit loose, might have gotten bumped in the back. And Nelson Jr. will take the place. We'll have a look at this from the perspective of Nelson Jr. No bump, just a squirreliness. And it'll go off the track, and Nelson Jr. with a beautiful dive makes his way past for P5. Ivan Barra holding on to third. Cameron Kaylee a second behind him. Nelson Jr. about a second behind him. Molitor and Blanco side by side as they make their way past the final turn. Blanco has a bit of overspeed, but no room as Molitor gets to dictate the line. Uh-oh. The blink for a hot moment, but thankfully is a nothing burger. Esper Krefke seems to be having trouble, and where has he gone? He's ended up way in the dirt at turn 2. I don't know what happened there, so let's get a look. As he crests turn 1, just never able to turn the car, and that ends up off the track and into the wall. Nelson Jr. with the pressure on Kaylee has won all but one race so far this season. Right on the tail end of Kaylee, looks to the inside, no room to go for the move yet. Although he's turned his way around, and Kaylee trying to hold him off. They're side by side heading to the line. A little bit of contact perhaps as they make their way up to turn 1. Kaylee trying to keep that door as shut as he can. Nelson Jr., does he get by? Not quite yet. Still side by side. He finally pulls free and is up to P4. field starts to spread out a little bit. Someone scraped the wall just a little bit, but thankfully nothing more than a scrape as Nana nearly ends up colliding into the wall. Here's Daniel Blanco. We're a quarter of the way through the first heat. Molitor maintains the lead. Blanco about a half second back. Barra trying to stay close. Nelson Jr., nothing but open track ahead of him as he looks to catch up to the top three. After this heat, we will flip the script. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. At the moment, it'll be Blackstock who starts this race in P1. Colby Vaughn may be the only one who registered for last place points, but that means he's going to have the advantage over the other drivers who couldn't make it. Getting all those points as if in P10 will be big. Looks like Justin Rector has ended up in the wall. We'll look to see where he's at. He is spun around, but is right back and rolling. Good to see. Right now in P8 as Prekrefke has gotten by. Go back to the front. No black and white flag for Blanco. There's no track cut on that. Tries to go in quickly. Molitor does get himself a bit of breathing room out of that turn. On board now with Blanco. Trying to account for the way Molitor wants to take the track. A little bit of squirreliness, but holds on to it. Oh, that's a pretty big cut. Is that going to give him the flag? Barra got the flag, but not Blanco. Oh, that may have been a missed shift there from Blanco, and he's losing time. And it does cost him quite a bit. Now 8/10 behind. Oh, both Prekrefke and Rector have ended up in a crash. Thankfully, separate incidents, as Nelson Jr. has gotten by Barra. Trying to catch back up as Nelson Jr. wants to work his way through the pack. And a black flag has been given to Justin Rector. We'll have to look for some info on that later on. Likely need to check the chat logs after this heat is done. Heat 1's about 11 minutes to go. Cameron Cayley and Ivan Barra battling for P4 at the moment. Nelson Jr. trying to make his way up the field and get up towards P2. And I don't think Blackstock is returning, and Rector has come into pit lane to serve the penalty. Perhaps an answer will be there in the replay, so let's have a look. Here's Justin Rector heading towards turn 1. Oh, ends up really squirrely, and that is not where you want to be. Let's get another look from the roll bar. Yeah, you don't want to be there. I don't know what got him the black flag. We'll have to look later on. Blanco's still in P2. Nelson Jr. cuts the gap to Blanco by 2.5. Oh, Molitor has some trouble around the final turn. Blanco's looking for some room on the inside. He won't find it just yet, but that gap is back down to 1/4 second. A very wide turn there from Molitor. And Rector has served the black flag. The best lap belongs to Nelson Jr. with a 122.160. For Blanco, it's a 122.184. Molitor, 122.256. Now Nelson Jr. only 2 seconds back. Oh, that looks like a bit of a slide, and that looks like a chance for Blanco on the inside, trying to get side by side. He's gotten alongside. He's gone wheel to wheel, front wheel to rear wheel. And they'll be side by side as they make it to turn 1, trying to hold on to the lines. Blanco now on the inside here of turn 2, trying to give him space is Molitor. Blanco doesn't have the room to make the move. And now Nelson Jr. right on their tail. Molitor's been struggling on the lap times, a 123.2 last time. 7/10 difference between Molitor and Nelson Jr. And now it's showing its ugly head. Six minutes, 35 seconds remain in Heat 1. Nelson Jr. right on the tail end. Molitor much cleaner around, but Nelson Jr. whips it around the hairpin. And Blanco ends up losing time out of the hairpin. Now 3/10 the gap from Blanco to Nelson. Excuse me. Don't worry, this has only been happening for like a year. Oh, that slide from Blanco may have cost him. 3/10 now the gap and dwindling. 5 minutes to go. 4 more laps at Sonoma for Heat 1. And now Molitor's got pressure on him. Best lap out of the 3 that time belonged to Nelson Jr. again. A 1:22.87. Blanco with a 1:22.91. Molitor 1:23.2. And swinging his way through the corner was Blanco. Him and Nelson Jr. are right side by side with each other as we send it on high to watch the battle for first. Blanco with a bit of a slide, loses out on some speed. Nelson Jr. will look for a move on the inside at the hairpin. Not alongside just yet, trying to hug that wall as best he can. And he does get by Blanco for P2. Oh, it's not done yet. Hold on a moment, folks. Blanco still in the fight and is ahead heading into turn 1. Nelson Jr. trying to stay there on that inside. He's still alongside. Thankfully, no contact just yet. And a perfect synchronous turn from the pair. Nelson Jr. may have pushed him a little bit wide and nearly contact on that turn. But they do make it out okay. Nelson Jr. in P2. We'll have 2 laps to go in the first heat. Molitor? Oh no. He's back. Starting to build a gap a little bit. Nelson and Blanco's battle forced the lap times to change quite a bit. 1:23.6 out of Nelson Jr. But he's already caught up by 0.2, and it's shrinking even more. Molitor knows the pressure's high right now. And Nelson Jr. is starting to leave Blanco in the dust. Oh, Molitor's ended up off the track. Nelson Jr. gets by. What happened to Brian Molitor? We'll go on board with him for a moment as we're about to approach white flag racing. It wouldn't turn, and the understeer out of the turn, and Molitor loses so much speed. And Nelson Jr. now has a 2.5 second gap as the white flag waves. We're in the final lap in Heat 1 of Sonoma. We didn't get to see what happened that sent Molitor back so far behind, as well as Blanco, but what we know now is Nelson Jr. chose not to qualify and is on his way to taking a victory here in Heat 1. The time has expired. Everyone's final time across the line will be their last for Heat 1. A little bit of a slide from Nelson Jr., but he hangs in there. Rector will hit the pits. And the checkered flag waves. Nelson Jr. finishes up the job and will take the checkered flag for the victory at Heat 1 at Sonoma. A little bit of drifting. Oh my God! Everyone's getting wild now that the heat is over. The engines are blowing up. The cars are climbing the hill. And Heat 1 about to come to a close. We'll have to wait for Blackstock to cross the line. Oh. I see. It appears he has. Rector, I need you to... The session will come to a close as it's Nelson Jr. with the victory. We'll be back after 5 minutes as we get ready for heat number 2. A quick look at our standings one more time. Nelson Jr. in the lead at the moment, with Colby Vaughn in second, Daniel Blanco in third, David Nannon in fourth. Barra, Cayley, Burke, Rector, Pokrevsky make up the top 9. And Molitor is a late joiner in P12 at the moment. Kuba, Duncan in P10 and 11. Blackstock, Colley, Sallow, Fleischauer, Morris, and Scott Maru make up the rest of the field. Whoop. Final moments of warm-up come to a close. It's cold. Not cold. And the grid, as we flip it, will go Blackstock, Rector, Pokrevsky, Nannon, Cayley, Barra, Blanco, Molitor, Nelson Jr. Looking at it more closely, it's Blackstock and Rector in row 1. With the gap to the leader as the time you see on screen. Pokrevsky in P3 will be on row 2 with David Nannon in P4. Cameron Cayley and Ivan Barra will be in row 3 with Cayley in P5, Barra P6. It's Daniel Blanco and Molitor, Brian Molitor in row 4. And in the back will be Nelson Jr. No, that didn't seem to go right. We should be all good now. Why is Barra creeping up? Guys, the pace car hadn't moved yet. There we go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Settle down, boys. Settle down. Wait, missing one? We are. We are missing Rector at the moment. Pace car is off. And Blackstock is just gunning it right off the rip.
Green flag, green
Around
flag.
the bend, and the green flag waves, and we'll wait to see if he ends up with a black flag for the start. But for now, he is way ahead of the field. And as the rest of the pack catches their way up, oh, already Ivan Barra has been ejected from the field. What happened there? I guess we'll have to get a look. So off the start, does have one on the inside. Cayley ends up bumping into the back end. And he can't save it. He ends up spinning out, but thankfully, only minor damage at best. At worst, it seems to be. No black flag for the start. It was a legal start from Blackstock. Although that may change depending on the ruling. So Rector started in pit lane, which is why he now stands at P8. David Nannon up to P2. Already it's Brian Molitor who has made his way up the field after the turn 1 incident, up to P3. Uh-oh, David Nannon's in trouble. control and ended up off the track. Oh, and another one's gone down. Blackstock has trouble. And just like that, we're almost right back to how Heat 1 went. As Nannen is slow to move. So we saw what happened to Nannen. What happened to Blackstock? So follow the white car. He just spins out of the exit of turn 2 and nearly collects another driver. But thankfully pulls back in time. No collision. Molitor the leader. Cayley behind. Daniel Blanco in third. Looking to move his way up the field quickly. Nelson Jr. already putting the pressure on. Blanco on the inside of Cayley. Cayley no choice but to give him room. Maybe Blanco shoved him to the outside just a little bit. And now Nelson Jr. right in the fray. Maybe a little more contact and a bit of a slide. Nelson Jr. on the outside doesn't have the room to go for the move yet. Had to slow down based on what Blanco was giving him. Blanco looking towards the inside for a moment, but Nelson Jr. right on his tail. Blanco trying to take the inside of Cayley. He's close. He's not quite there for the move just yet. The focus here in the battle for P2 is Molitor. Tries to just keep a move on. Uh-oh. A little bit of a slide from Blanco, but he holds on to it. So Justin Rector here trying to chase down Chris Blackstock. Blackstock had a crash earlier as well. And there's David Nannen in P9. Still keeping tabs in the battle for P2. For now, it's quiet. It may have gotten a little bit ruffled, though. It looks like Cayley may have been loose heading out of that turn. At the O'Reilly bend. They are almost looking to go 3 wide around the final turn, but Cayley at least is ahead at the moment. Oh, another slide from Blanco. He loses speed. Nelson Jr. gets alongside and will force him to the outside here for turn 1. Is past him for now and does get by. Over a quarter of the way through the feature race. Molitor's been pulling away from these 3 quite a bit, as Cayley has been somewhat slowing down the other 2. 122.6 was the last lap that Molitor put together. Cameron Cayley's best lap at the moment, a 123.23. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Oh, Cayley a little bit rough through the chicane. Maybe a bit of a bump there from Nelson Jr. Nearly ended up collecting his back end, but they do avoid each other for now. Cayley still at least in P3, but Nelson Jr. does get by. Good luck, Molitor. The pressure's on. You've only got to hold him up for about 640. At 1320, I mean. Stay with Molitor for now. He knows the pressure's on big time. Blanco trying to catch up to take that P3 spot away. Looks like Rector had hit the pits, actually. He's down in P9 still. Perhaps a bit of a clip into the dirt from Molitor there. Another vanish. He is back. And Blanco will get by Kaylee for P3, but Kaylee still in the fight on the inside of the hairpin. They're colliding side by side. They both collide into the wall. And it looks like both cars have suffered some form of damage. Blanco still pushing the bumper almost of Kaylee, forces him wide. And Blanco takes P3. Oh no, and now Kaylee's car won't turn. That looks like a flat tire. Whoa, what in the world? Krefke, what was that? And Kaylee's gonna park it. Yep, that front left is wobbling. That's not what we're looking for. We'll need to go back even further, so let's do that. You can see they're hooked already at that point, and with neither car able to turn, they slam headfirst into the wall. But the problem there is Kaylee ended up losing a bunch of speed, gets bumped by Blanco in the back. He doesn't think Kaylee's lost any speed. And as they go around the turn, there's the bump. And Blanco just goes by. And Kaylee has no chance to turn that car. And that's going to take him out of the race, it looks to be. And now Molitor's got all the pressure in the world. Nelson Jr. making up a full second on Molitor in the last lap. A 1:22.182 was his time compared to the 1:23.138 of Molitor. A little bit of a bump in the wall there from Nelson Jr., but he's still okay. Still the battle for P1 raging on, all the same at the moment. Nelson Jr. not able to make his way past just yet. Starting to close the gap a little bit, though, and has 8 minutes to go. To the inside goes Nelson Jr. Does get alongside. Molitor nearly collides into the wall, but hangs onto it, and they'll go side by side heading into turn one. Stays with Molitor for now as they cross the line. Nelson Jr. to the outside, to the inside of turn two is where he's been making all his passes, and it won't be just yet. Molitor does get ahead, but it slides on the exit, and Nelson Jr. with a cleaner exit. Not able to get past just yet. It won't be yet, but he's close. Oh, God. Down to the final turn this time. Nelson Jr. is just going to put the pressure on the back end. Molitor with good defensive driving. Doesn't give him the room on the inside. And they both end up at about the same speed on the exit. Nelson Jr. is going to look to that outside again, but this time isn't going to have the same kind of room he had last time. Won't be able to force Molitor wide here at turn two. Molitor is going to get to take whatever line he wants. And that's going to be his line, his favorite line. To end up with 124s in the lap times. Next time around, as we'll make our way through the chicanes. Nelson Jr. getting even closer this time. Right on the tail end. We'll look to the outside this time. Wants to go for an over-under, but Molitor trying to shut that door, and he does. Immediately gets in position to make his way through to turn one. 3, no, 4 laps to go. This time, Molitor will have to consider Nelson Jr., but does hang on to it for now. Molitor on the inside, now moves to the outside here for turn 5. Nelson Jr. sticks the nose out and is ahead at the moment, trying to hold on to the position. He's got it. Nelson Jr. to the lead. Although the inside will be open for Molitor, although Nelson Jr. wants to make it a move, Molitor with a great defense. Molitor reading that Nelson Jr. wanted that over-under move, wanted to bait him into taking that inside line and swing way out, but Molitor responds well. This time Molitor goes way too wide around the hairpin, bumps into the wall, and that's going to give Nelson Jr. the lead. And with 3 laps to go, Nelson Jr. will look to take this lead and balloon it as far as he can go. Trying to hang in there is Molitor, but the gap already up to over to nearly half a second. It does extend further. 2 laps to go at Sonoma. Nelson Jr. trying to put on the same dominating performance we've been seeing all season from him. Rector and Blackstock right now going back and forth. Whoa. What happened there? Why'd he stop? Let's go back and forth and see. So these two have been battling each other for a little bit. But that doesn't sound like full. Neither one wants the position. Rector finally ends up in the victory, I suppose, in that front. As Blackstock will move up to 7th. You can see Blanco in the back in a comfortable 3rd. It's a final lap at Sonoma. The white flag waves. And through the final bend goes Nelson Jr. One last lap. Looking to win 7 of 8 races in the Sunset Bend Street Stock Road Course Challenge presented by the Prodigy Racing Association. Through the O'Reilly Bend. He'll go through the chicanes. You can see the lap traffic ahead of them. They'll get the checkered flag now. As this race is set to come to a close. The gap to Molitor up to a 2nd and a 3rd. And that's another pit stop for Justin Rector. Around the final bend, Keith Nelson Jr. takes his 7th of 8 races. And through the final bend he'll go. Keith Nelson Jr., your double winner at Sonoma. Up the ramp he'll go to clear the fence. Made it over. That's a good one from Blanco. Anyone else? Burrow, what do you got? Incoming! Oh, hard into the turn 2 wall. How about Perkrefke? You got a show for us? How about a spin through turn 1? David Nannon, you're up next. Show us what you got. Look for the style points. Incoming! He vanished. That's pretty good. I want to just go back. Let's watch it again. A perfect clear. Head first into the catchbase. Oh, the pit lane wall ride. All right. Not bad from Blackstock to end us off. Look at that car. Destroyed. He'll get the black flag for speeding in pit lane. Through the pace car he goes. Let's see what you got. One last show for the people. Over the hill. And he hits the tire wall before he can make it over. And that'll do it for us at Sonoma. Thank you very much for joining us. The Sunset Bend Street Stock Road Course Challenge heads to Detroit to begin the second half of the season, followed by Navarra, Interlagos, and Long Beach after the Thanksgiving break. Thank you very much for joining us. This has been the Sunset Bend Street Stock Road Course Challenge presented by the Prodigy Racing Association. We'll see you next time.